Hello everyone. Myself Hasina Bibi, Assistant Professor of CSE Department, Rohini College of Engineering and Technology. In this video lecture, we are going to see the topic Servlet Get and Post Actions from the third unit of Web Technologies. Servlets are the Java programs that run on the Java-enabled web server or application server. They are used to handle the request obtained from the web server, process the request, collect the necessary information from the databases, and produce the response and send the response back to the web server. Properties of servlets are as follows. Servlets works on the server side. Servlets are capable of handling complex requests obtained from the web server. Handling the client data. We must have come across many situations where we need to fill a form with our data to access some application. In this situation, as a developer, we need to handle that data or information to pass from the browser to the web application server and finally to your backend program to process the request. In this chapter, we will learn how to handle this form of data using servlets. Let us see the class HTTP Servlet class. Java provides an important class called as HTTP Servlet class, which extends the generic servlet class to process HTTP specific request or response for a website. It provides HTTP specific methods such as doGet, doPost, doPut, doDelete, etc. If we are extending the HTTP in our class, we must override at least one of these methods to process the request and send the response. We need to use either doGet or doPost method in the servlet class to get the information from the browser based on the method specified in the form. Get method type and doGet method. The doGet method in servlets is used to process the HTTP GET request. Basically, the HTTP GET method should be used to get the data from the server to the browser. Although in some requests, the GET method is used to send data from the browser to the server also. In this case, you need to understand the below points on how the GET method will work. The data that is being submitted to the server will be visible in the URL using query parameters like this. HTTP localhost 8080 hello servlet hello my parameter equal to my value. So if you are sending any sensitive information like passwords, you should not use the GET method as the data entered can be clearly visible in the browser URL. Post method type and doPost method. The doPost method in servlets is used to process the HTTP post request. It is used to submit the data from the browser to the server for processing. The data submitted with post method type is sent in the message body, so it is secure and cannot be seen in the URL, and there is no limit on the data that can be sent through the post method. Ideally, we need to use the post method to send the form data to the web server. So we will be using the doPost method in this example. And we will learn how to handle some of the common HTML fields, data such as text field, checkbox, radio button, drop-down, etc. values in the servlet. To achieve this, Java provides servlet request interface. Let us see the method HTTP servlet request. HTTP servlet request interface extends the servlet request interface to provide the HTTP specific request information for servlets. The servlet container creates an HTTP servlet request object and passes it as an argument to the servlet service methods like doPost, doGet, etc. The object provides data like parameter name and values, attributes, and an input stream, and it has various methods to work with the client data. In this example, we are going to use the get parameter and get parameter values to read values from the form field. Get parameter method. This method returns the value of the field or parameter from the request, which is specified by the given name as a string. If the specified parameter name does not exist, it returns null. This method should be used on the parameter that has only one value. If multiple values are there, then it returns only the first value. For example, let us see the syntax in Java. String type specifying the parameter, and which is the name of which the value to be written will be declared as string. Java.lang.string get parameter, java.lang.string name get parameter values method. This method returns an array of string objects containing all the values of the given field or parameter from the request. If the specified parameter name does not exist, it returns null. In Java coding, we will use the syntax like this: java.lang.string get parameter values. Let us see the form example. There will be the form. The client will fill up the form with the. In this example, we try to explain how the input data filled by the user or data filled by the client will be processed by the servlet with the help of get and post methods. And this form consists of the field like full name, phone number, gender with the radio buttons, select programming languages to learn with the checkboxes, and the select course duration and anything else you want to share, and submit button. So there are three basic steps to create the application that we told before, that is to receive the form input data and to process in the server side with the help of servlet. To create the application, we have to do the three things. First one is create an HTML to take the input data from the client. Second thing is to create the servlet to handle the data, process the request and generate the response. The third step is run the application. So this is the example coding. This is the HTML document we have created to develop the form that we seen previously. Form with the various fields like full name, phone number, radio buttons, gender, etc. So this is the coding to develop the web page with the form. This is the form. This is the HTML coding. So again, this slide is explaining about the individual field that we have created in the HTML form. And one important thing we have to note is we mentioned the form action to form data and the method to post. So we have mentioned here, when we start with the form, we have mentioned here in the body, we can see the header tag, we have put the heading fill in the form. Then in the form tag we have mentioned action equal to form data, method equal to post. This is very important. So we mentioned the form action to form data and the method to post. So when the form is submitted, the page will be mapped to the URL, form data, specific servlet and execute the do post method. So this is an coding to create the Java servlet. So we have to import the necessary Java packages to support the servlet. Then we have defined the various methods. We have called the method like form data handle. Then we have form data handle is used to actually the HTTP servlet to do post method. Then we have applied the do post method. Then we are getting the various field informations as a string in a separate set of variables in the JavaScript, in the Java program. For example, the phone, the data filled in the phone text field of the HTML document, HTML form is retrieved, and here it is stored in the name of phnum. Then we are printing all those details. So in this way, in this kind of coding, we can create the servlet application So instead of using web.xml to map the URL request to the servlet, we are using @web_servlet annotation to map the URL to the servlet. Once the form page is submitted, the doPost method of the servlet class will be invoked. The field values are submitted to the servlet in the form of parameters in the HTTP servlet request. So we can get those parameter values using getParameter and getParameterValues method on the request object. So in the output, when we submit the button, when we enter all the details, then when we submit the button, the details will be submitted to the servlet and the data is written to the response that displays on the browser. You will get the output screen like this. The data will be displayed on the browser. We can check the changes in the URL that is being mapped to the servlet. This way we can handle the HTML form data in the servlet classes using the methods in HTTP servlet request interface. So we have seen one simple example. In this way we can create any complex web applications with the help of Java servlet and with the help of do get and do method in Java servlet. Thank you.